Hey, adventurers, we are here live at the Contemporary Resort for the Summer of Fun Showcase, and we are talking all about Disney vacations. And I am joined today by a couple of Disney experts here from planDisney, and we got Matt and Christina.
Hey,
so nice
morning.
to have you guys here joining me. If you guys could each just introduce yourself and just a little bit of how you got involved in planDisney and things like that. We'll start with you, Christina.
Absolutely. My name is Christina. So I'm actually a Florida local, and I have been applying for planDisney for, it's been years. I can't even tell you how many years, honestly. It was one of those things, the application came out, I would apply, and that was it. And guess what? This past year became my year. So
That's awesome.
I'm just so happy to be here. And as a Florida local, I just tell tips and tricks of coming into the parks, either just for a day or even for a long weekend.
All right.
So I'm Matt from Minnesota, Midwestern born. I joined planDisney because my wife told me we couldn't go on any more Disney vacations. And so I started applying for the panel. But as the time went on, I just became really interested in the way I used the panel, asked my own questions, and found what a useful resource it was and wanted to help people get the most out of their Disney vacations. And yeah, similarly, like after a couple attempts, I made it this year, and it's just been a really great experience and happy to be down here.
Awesome. And could one of you guys explain just what planDisney is, just for people who aren't familiar with it?
Absolutely. So planDisney is a place where real guests can ask other real guests questions, and you can do it right on our website, which is amazing, right? So we actually answer from our experiences. There's about 50 of us on the panel, and we all have different specialties. So like, for instance, we are Walt Disney World, but we also have cruise line. We have Disneyland as well.
Okay.
So yeah.
There's even some Disneyland Paris experts. So really, whatever question you have, chances are somebody has an answer for you.
Yeah, actually, I ran into that on my way here. We were having trouble connecting one of our older Magic Bands. So I typed in something, and I think actually in the app, and it popped up with an answer, and we were able to get it fixed. So that's awesome. Now, today we're going to be talking about planning a Disney vacation for a family, basically start to end, how to do it, how to even start planning, where should you stay, how to navigate the parks, just all the things, basically. But I want to start with, what are your guys, like, I know you're local, but is your first Disney memory as like a vacation or something like that you like, that really made you a Disney fan, basically for life?
Yeah, so I will say I actually remember the biggest one for me was when I was about 8 years old. I'm originally from New Jersey.
Oh.
So my aunt actually we had my cousin's baptism, and then afterwards, she had us all down in Disney, and she was a Disney Vacation Club member, and we actually stayed in 3-bedroom villas at the time, and it was incredible. I just remember going to the pool at night with my cousins, jumping on the Disney buses, just the convenience of everything, and for me, that's really when the magic began. That's when I was like, this is my place, and this is definitely my happy place.
All right. I know there's photo evidence that I came down at 6 months old, and then we came down periodically throughout my childhood. I like to joke, like, enough times that I have a strong emotional response to the smell of Pirates of the Caribbean. But it wasn't until I was a parent myself, and we took my 2 kids, I have 3 now, but my older 2, probably was about 2016, came down for our first Disney vacation, that I actually didn't even have that much hand in planning. But I got down here, and all the convenience of the transportation and the planning tools that were even available then, and the reservation, like, for somebody like myself who's a planner and a little anxious, I just felt so comfortable. And then there was on all the like nostalgia and ways I was able to show my kids things that I remembered from my youth. It just was this very big turning point in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate to that on all levels. So we're going to hop into talking about planning a Disney vacation. So today you're parents and you're like, that's it. This is the year we're going to take our kids to Disney World. Like, where does it all begin? What do you start with? There's so many things to think about when you're planning a trip compared to maybe some other destinations, like a beach vacation or something like that. But it's a lot, but it's also awesome. So where do you start at?
So that's actually a great question. I would say the first thing you want to start at is first planning out your budget, right?
Okay.
So I'm a mom of a 3 and a 7-year-old. I understand taking kids to Disney, right? So start with your budget, because once you have a budget, then everything else can fall in line there.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, I know we do the same thing. My wife and I will talk about maybe what the level of budget is in a given year. Sometimes we are looking for a little more value, and other times we want to live it up a little bit. But it's a conversation. That's probably going to be the reoccurring theme to most of my answers is talk to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, start with that budget piece is really critical.
And then after that, you want to figure out your time of year. When is it that you would like to come, right? Because you have to figure out the timing. And then from there, that's when I would say start off with your resort or your hotel, right? There are so many different options for so many different families, regardless of budget, that you can stay. So that's going to be the most important thing to do next.
Yeah, I always recommend people, most school districts publish multiple years worth of calendars in advance. So become familiar with those and be able to, especially coming from out of state, identify when those travel times work if you have school age kids. And usually at our house, that means we have a couple of years worth of Disney vacation plans in the works. But figuring out those so that you can start the budgeting conversation, and then also maybe even the active budget, start setting aside those vacation funds so you can have the type of Disney vacation that you want.
You guys are speaking my language. I mean, Family Money Adventure, we are very much about budgeting and figuring that out. And one of the big things for us is value-based budgeting. So figuring out what you care about the most and directing your money that way. And then one of the things for us is vacationing, travel, whether it's Disney or other location destinations. So it's a huge thing. We talked about a little bit about the resorts. Do you guys have a favorite resort that you like staying at?
They're all my children. I love them all.
I know.
I mean, we've had some really special vacations at the Polynesian, no doubt. I mean, that's just such a wonderful, classic resort. But we're big fans of Pop Century, and on a recent trip, had a chance to stay at Wilderness Lodge and really loved that. Such a beautiful resort and a little less crowded than some of the monorail locations. But yeah, I think those kind of pop to my head first.
Our family is definitely an Animal Kingdom family. My girls are just obsessed with Animal Kingdom. My 7-year-old's favorite animal is an okapi. So the fact that we can go over to Kandani and actually walk and see an okapi is just really the coolest thing. So if Animal Kingdom is available, you will find us there.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually where I'm staying right now. It's beautiful. First time there. My wife loves giraffes. And that was immediately walk into our room and look out the window, and there's the baby giraffe and 5 other ones. I'm just, is this real?
Exactly.
For me growing up, it was Caribbean.
Oh, sure.
Beach resort. And that I just had a friend who was just here the other week and was posting pictures, and I was like, that's my spot. I'm like, I want to stay here. I want to check this out. But I also wanted to go. I remember that's where I grew up going there. So many memories. So talking about that, you touched on transportation a little. Does that play a role into where you stay at so much, or is it more on the budget side?
It usually is a factor that we discuss. I mean, we know that whatever Disney Resort hotel we're going to stay at has the complimentary bus service. So it's never something that we stress about or worry about. But being able to stay on a monorail, a resort on the monorail line, or if it's something that has access to the Skyliner, I mean, that is cool. A great thing. We love to consider it. Anytime I don't have to fold up a stroller is a huge win. So if it's Wilderness Lodge has access to the water taxis, it plays a role, even if it's not a primary consideration. We want to make sure we know all of our options, land, sea, or air. Which way can we go?
Okay. And I do love that you bring that up, because there are some guests that do love the monorail resorts. There are other guests that just love walking into Epcot and staying at the boardwalk or beach and yacht club. So it really depends on what is really important for you. We're the type of family, we love Animal Kingdom. You can't walk anywhere from Animal Kingdom, right? So we know we're going to grab a bus, and we know that the boats are available, and we know that the Disney transportation is there for us if we need it. Yep. So I think it just depends on what's important to you and your planning.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, because that's big for us. And what we always share with our listeners, our readers on the website is you can listen to a lot of experts, or you can go to a lot of websites and get a lot of tips. But ultimately is, what do you want your trip to look like? Exactly. And it doesn't have to look like everybody else's. You don't have to hit every single ride, because I know a lot of people feel that way. There's an anxiety, don't do everything, then you're not getting your money's worth. But that's actually the opposite of what I've found, is that when you figure out what your thing is and don't worry about all the other stuff, the FOMO and all that, you have a great vacation. I'm trying to think. So you brought that up, and I wanted to ask you guys, as you're planning this trip, you got where you're staying at figured out. How do you decide how many, besides how long your vacation is, like how many days you're going to stay, how many park days? You can throw the water parks in there, all the other different things that are available to do, not just on Disney, but like this whole area is just rich with just possibilities.
Definitely. I think that's a great thing to bring up as well, because even the resorts themselves have so many things. My kids love hanging out at a resort. They love going to the community halls. They love bingo by the pool. They love watching the movie underneath the stars. There are so many great things at the resort themselves. So to your point, I think it's important. Okay, how many days do we want to stay in the park? Do we want to visit all 4 parks? Do we want to 2-park in one day? Really, it's up to the guest to decide that and decide, what does my family like to do? Do we want to go maybe to Epcot during the day and watch the fireworks at Magic Kingdom at night? So definitely take a look at how much time you have. I highly recommend putting in a pool day or just a resort day in there, because it's just, I don't think people take enough advantage of the resorts. So I highly recommend that.
I mean, one of the reasons we start, my family, like we plan as far in advance as we can. And even before we have a reservation, we might be planning a Disney vacation, is that we want to watch YouTube videos. We want to talk about all the different rides and restaurants and the resort. Like, we want to be able to have plan A, B, C and talk about those things, whether it's go to do mini golf or go to one of the water parks. We want to weigh all of our options. And one of the things that we do is we let the kids have a say in how we're planning it. I mean, sometimes it's, I want to do 4 parks in one day. No, we have a toddler with us. Absolutely not. But let's get that idea out. Let's air it out. Let's see what's feasible. And then we try and make it the whole family planning process to really see what that vacation is going to look like.
I was here a few years ago for a conference, and actually we got here early. So a group of content creators did one of the VIP tours, and we did do all 4 parks.
That's awesome.
It is not easy to do.
Nope. I did it when I was 20. And that's probably the last time I can pull that off.
Yeah, very hard to do, especially with the family.
Yep.
I love that you brought up getting your kids involved. Like, our kids are a little older now. We got some in college and one still in high school. I try to involve them in every travel decision, basically. But like you mentioned, looking at YouTube, things like that. What types of things, first, are your kids really into as far as Disney goes? And then are there certain areas of your trip that, like, maybe you and your spouse or whatever handle yourself? Are there other parts where you like let the kids roam free with whatever idea they want to do? Like, how do you balance that?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a 3 and 7-year-old, like I said before, and they're both girls. So of course, princesses are where we're at in our life, right? And that's okay. So we do a lot with the princesses, but I will tell you, my 3-year-old loves Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Absolutely loves. So we will find ourselves at Pirates, but we do a lot of kind of letting them lead a little bit. I will tell you, just to see Disney through the eyes of children is incredible. Last time we were in Magic Kingdom, my daughter saw the horseshoes of Philippe from the Beast Castle, like leaving, and she just sat there and counted every single horseshoe as we left. And just that pause to be like, what an incredible detail, number one. But this 3-year-old is just loving that she can see this. It's just really letting them go and letting them explore, I do find. Now, my oldest really loves Hollywood Studios. She loves Rise of the Resistance. So that's her thing right now. So we do find ourselves there frequently, especially in Toy Story Land. Oh, we spend hours, probably too many hours in Toy Story Land. But yeah, that's where our family is at right now.
One of the things my kids like to do in preparation for a trip is the National Geographic Animal Kingdom show. It is a big hit at our house. And then my boys really enjoyed the Behind the Attraction series on Disney Plus. So they're taking after me, real history ride nerds. But they like to see that behind the scenes stuff, learn a little bit about the history, and then be able to point those things out when we're in the park. Oh, I saw that in the park. Or is that the same rhino that we saw on TV? So that's a fun part of the planning process that then helps them make their choices. So in my family, everyone gets a say on the rides. or they get to say what their priorities are. It's like, what do they really want to see? Is there something new that's come out that they want to see? They get to pick a restaurant within reason. If anyone picks like Victoria and Albert's, I might, a couple of years from now. But we try and let the kids make their choices known. And then it's up to my wife and I to fill in the blanks and get us from point A to point B. I'm not going to hand my 5-year-old a map or anything like that and ask him to navigate us from Magic Kingdom to Hollywood Studios. But so, I mean, that's the way that we try and balance that so that everybody feels like it's their vacation, which is also important for my wife and I. It's our vacation too. And so we want to make sure that we're sharing like what we're excited to see or what's new that maybe we didn't see on our last trip, or what's something that we've never done. Okay, that's our choice for this time.
Yeah. So this week, my 17-year-old son is with us, and he's 6'2". He's like taller than me now. His first trip to Disney, he was in a stroller. It was Christmas time. And you mentioned you have a 3-year-old. I know a lot of people, the question that they have is it too early to take my kids? Will they remember this? Like, how do you answer that type of question for parents on what's the right time, or is there a right time to bring kids?
Yeah, definitely. So I started bringing both my girls when they were 6 months old. And honestly, it was the right time, right? It's not just about, it's about building those family memories as well. Let me tell you, just to see my 1-year-old at the time walk up to Mickey Mouse and just reach their hands out, that is a memory that's going to last and be cherished forever. Yeah. So I never say there's like a right time. I think every time is the right time because really the memories do last.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then of course you have the pictures. And of course, I always say get Memory Maker, like be sure because you're going to have those cherished moments forever. And so I'm all about every time is the right time. There's other things besides rides as well. Remember, there's Broadway-style shows, there's the characters, there's parades. There's so much to offer. And even if you want to do rides, there's so many no height requirement rides that you can just take your children on.
Yep. I always answer that question so when I'm not doing planDisney, I work in museums, children's museums specifically. So I always answer it from the early childhood development standpoint, which is that there's research that shows that babies and toddlers, even if they don't remember an experience, that all those positive experiences go towards building who we all become. Our brain forms those core memories and things like that. And when people ask me that question, it's like, well, you're not just going to keep your kid inside for a few years until they remember something. Go out there and build those positive experiences. And Christina said, you'll remember it. That's absolutely worth something. That's what I always think when we have the babies along for the ride is it's like we're building good brain.
Yeah. So we've talked about some of the planning. We've talked about where to stay, talked about like how many days to plan, things like that. Let's look a little bit at the like Disney park tickets. You got hopper options. You got multiple days. Like how do families go about picking like that? Along with now you have the lightning lanes, which is a shift from the Genie passes before, which is what I'm last familiar with. I'm actually trying to navigate and learn how this new system works or if it's any different. Talk a little bit about some of those aspects of like strategy as you're planning this trip and figure out like which park to do, what kind of ticket to get, things like that.
Definitely. So I know with my little ones, we're typically not going to park hop, right? But what we will do is we'll go into one park. We might go back to the hotel, go for a swim, and then come back in.
Yeah.
So for our family, a park hop option doesn't make sense. But if you have older kids, then a park hop option definitely does make sense. It would make sense if you wanted to do like a Magic Kingdom during the day and Epcot at night, those kinds of things. So I think it's first, see what's important to your family when you are planning to ensure you are getting the right ticket. But do know, I think there's a misconception, like, if you do go and do not do a park hopper option, you have the option of going into that one park the entire day, whether you come and go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think age, like we're always traveling with a family group, so age always plays a big part in that. Like you said, I'm not park hopping with a toddler. But part of it for us is that when my family comes down, this is like our one trip a year. It's our big trip. And so we are planning it out, thinking about how are we going to get the most out of our time while we're down in Florida. And so lightning lanes, they do play a part in that conversation because we want to make sure that we can ride all the things we want to ride or see all the things we want to see. So that becomes part of our planning process, our budgeting process, even knowing that's going to be something we want to pay for as part of our experience. And then whether with us, it's the coming from Minnesota, oftentimes it's colder there than it is here. So we know like we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a pool break, even if the lifeguards are bundled up in their parkas. My kids are the crazy ones doing the cannonballs at 60-degree weather. I think it's all part of that conversation, looking at where your family is in their stage of life, and then looking at the ticket options that make sense for you. Yeah.
And then lightning lanes are really neat, right? So you are able to make those selections. You can do the multi-pass lightning lane with 3 selections, and then that allows you to actually go ahead and go into a shorter line. So it's really a value savings there. It saved your time in the park. And if there's time in between, you can always do another attraction, or you can go to a show or something else. So I really highly recommend a lightning lane. Even as locals, we do use the lightning lane system. So
yeah, one thing we always make sure to do as well is that with lightning lanes, resort guests you book your lightning lane 7 days ahead, whereas other guests can book 3 days ahead. So part of our process is also putting all the reminders on our calendar when we book things 60 days out for dining and all that, because we don't want those dates to pass us by.
Definitely. And if you're not looking into the multi-pass lightning lane, maybe you're like my daughter and she wants to only rise that day. You can do the single. Yeah. So there's that option as well.
Yeah, I always look at it, it's an extra cost, but I just, in my mind, especially with teenagers, I just build it into the ticket. That's just part of that. Like That's how I shift my mind to think that way instead of, I got to pay for this and then I have to have that. That's just a non-negotiable for us, is to have that. And we do hop back and forth between Park Hopper and whatever based on the specific vacation and how many days there are.
Exactly.
I love that you talked about throwing in pool breaks, things like that. We often will do, like say have 4 park days and we're not doing hoppers, so each park gets a day. We will try to plan maybe after 2 days to have a resort day, like you talked about, just to recharge. Some of it, you got younger kids, they need a nap, they need a break, whatever. But really, my college kids, they need a break too sometimes. It's just, and I think as parents need a break as well, whether it's just to sit down and relax. Like our kids, they're older, they have phones. It's their chance to just reconnect with their people and just veg out sometimes. So I love that the resorts are so close and the transportation options make it so easy to go from one place to another so quickly.
I mean, this is one of those things where everybody, your travel group, whether it's your family, your friends, everybody better than any internet expert does. And so taking a chance, talk to everybody in your group, do an analysis and think about what do you want to see, what do you want to do, and whatever trip that looks is the right trip.
Yeah.
So I've had friends ask me, like, can I do 2 days at the Magic Kingdom? It's yes, you have a 5-year-old. You should absolutely do 2 days at the Magic Kingdom. Just because that's not what you saw on an itinerary somewhere, that's fine. It's your vacation. Make it what you want it to be.
And the really great part about Disney is there's something for everybody.
Yes. Yep.
There really is something for everybody, whether you're traveling with kids or you're just adult trips or you're a foodie. You will find what you're looking for here. So I think that's the coolest part.
Yep.
I love that you brought that up because that's what I was going to talk about next. She talked about the dining reservations 60 days out if you stay at a resort. Talk about that as far as strategy goes with that. Dining plans that are available. You got quick service, you got mobile ordering. What's the strategy for parents and families as they try to plan meals and snacks and everything?
Definitely. So there's a lot of strategy there, right? I would say if you are looking for a very highly sought after reservation, then just make sure that you do that 60 days in advance, right? If you're looking to go to Cinderella's Royal Table, that's a 60-day in advance, right? You want to jump on that as soon as you can if you're looking for that character dining. The other thing is mobile service. I love that you bring that up. Definitely take advantage of mobile service. That's another way of just saving time and adding to the value that you have here in the park, right? So you can order your food as soon as it's ready. I'm here, and then you can just go pick it up. It's just so much easier, especially with kids, because we all know they get hangry as well.
Yes.
So it's so much easier that way. And then the other thing I don't think people realize is you are allowed to bring snacks and food and water into the park. Great. So make sure you have your water bottle and you are using those refillable water stations. So what our family actually does is we love to have a big breakfast in our resort room. We usually eat breakfast there, and then we will travel to the park, bring some snacks, and then we'll do dining. And it's usually like a late lunch, early dinner, and we are great for the entire day.
Yeah.
So just knowing what your family likes, and I know you guys love the dining plan, so I'm going to let you take that away.
mean, the first thing we do when we're planning is we look at the price of the dining plan and we do the math real quick. What does it work out to per person per day? Like what the amount of money to get the cost to get our money's worth out of it. And I have some big snackers in my family, so it's usually not a question. Like we are making value on the dining plan. And so with that, the credits and that whole plan in place, we form our strategy for where that aligns with our park days, or we use it as an opportunity to go to the resorts, to get out of the theme parks and go to a resort that maybe we haven't stayed at before, get a little preview of what it looks like and take advantage of some of the like really great restaurants. I think some of the best restaurants are at the resorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also with little ones, I always say, take advantage of getting them. That's a great downtime for them.
Yeah.
Right? So that midday, let's go eat something, that just takes them away, and that's just a great time.
It's not just for kids.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get hangry too.
Yeah, very much. And I love what you brought up, your kind of strategy with that, because I don't think people realize this. Our family goes to a lot of amusement parks. We live near a couple big ones. Pretty restrictive on what you can bring into parks. And I've found that some people feel like maybe a Disney vacation is expensive and that they wouldn't want you to bring stuff in so that you buy stuff in the park, but it's very much the opposite. I know our strategy's changed a little bit as they're older. They want to try all the different things now. But what we used to do is like the big breakfast, and then we bring in a backpack cooler filled with water. A lot of times we would freeze the water bottles, use those as the ice packs. So then at the end of the day, we had more water, pack a lunch, and then we would let them pick a place for dinner in the park. And it's a good way to save money, but then also get to experience some of the stuff in the park. Throw in a snack, Dole Whip here,
of course.
Another one later, whatever. That's how we did things as a family ourselves. So you talk about dining. Where's your favorite place to eat in any of the parks?
Parks only? Or
we'll do parks, or like maybe your favorite and then a recommendation.
I mean, I do love Jungle Skipper, Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think I know it's been a few years now, but still feel like it's new. But I think that was just a great addition to the park, and I'm a huge Jungle Cruise nerd. That's probably one of my go-to. That's my choice when we're planning.
We love a good character dining in our house. So one of our favorite character dinings is over at Wilderness Lodge, and it's it's Storybook Point.
Oh, it's a lot of
Storybook
fun.
by Art. Sorry, wow, I'm sorry. Storybook by Artist Point, and it's really fun because you get to meet Snow White, and then typically there's two dwarfs there. I'm not going to say who, but my favorite is you get to meet the Evil Queen. And so where else do you get to dine with the villain? So it's pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely. So you mentioned your favorite as far as dining goes. What about rides, though? What's the best ride, and what's your favorite ride? Because I know those are two different things, and I know it's also hard to just choose one.
So I would say favorite ride as a family is Toy Story Mania. And because we have a very friendly competition in our family of who wins every single time. Now, my husband always thinks he can win, and he doesn't. And I have to just bragging rights a little bit there every time we beat him. But it's also fun because my kids love it too. And my daughter's getting really good. So we just love that as a family. But of course, Guardians that's just the best ride to me, especially if you have September. That's just a party. It's just great.
I just want to hang out in Adventureland all day long between Pirates and Jungle Cruise and the Tiki Room. That's probably my favorite spot in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say Adventureland. I'm breaking the rules of your questions.
Oh, that's totally fine.
But I think as far as the best ride, I mean, Rise of the Resistance is just such the word that comes to mind is masterpiece. It's just so impressive, everything about it. So I think if you're going to say best, I'll go with Rise. And then old school from favorite is Adventureland.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pirates is what I grew up on. And the smell of the water, all those things. It's very much my favorite ride. And then Guardians, I will differ on the song a little bit, but it's not my favorite. And I think sometimes it depends on which one's on the first time you ever ride it.
It's true.
Oh, sure.
But it is cool that there's some different song options if you didn't know, and you don't know ahead of time. And all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And it's a very different experience
Yes,
each time. That's what
every
you don't
time.
understand. Like, it really is a different ride.
Yes.
The vibe of it is all different. I love that you brought up Adventureland. So Magic Kingdom, which is a big favorite across the board for families, there's a lot of different areas to go to. And it's a lot of walking. I think it's like over 10 miles you average in the park.
Get your steps in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is there a strategy as far as that? I mean, we talked about Lightning Lane, but if you want to be strategic, you could end up going
Yeah.
all over the
Definitely.
place. Does that play a role into the actual day of like how you're going to plan things out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a balance, right? And again, coming back to that idea of what's your priorities. So if there are a few really particular attractions that you want to experience, yes, you may end up crisscrossing the park a little bit just based on what times are available. But I do think it is worth it, especially like if you're on a week-long vacation or more. Save your feet and be strategic about it and look at how you're ordering your lightning lanes so that you're not running back and forth. That wears people out, adults and kids, especially if you're pushing strollers and you've got diaper bags and you're going from Tomorrowland to Frontierland. Just take a moment, look at the map. My Disney Experience mobile app is a really useful map that I use all the time just to help remind myself, where is point A, where is point B, how much am I doing that across, whether it's Magic Kingdom or Epcot especially. Maybe try and localize your selections a little bit, because that is a long walk around World Showcase.
Do your kids, I know different ages, do they have devices and have the app on theirs, or is it just you guys?
With mine, just my wife and I have
Okay.
devices. I'm sure eventually we'll get to that point. My daughter, who's in middle school, would love to hear me commit on a recorded media that she gets a phone, but not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. But I think when we would visit eventually, that would be first thing I would do is make sure they have the app so that they can navigate their way around the board as well.
Having teenagers, that's been a huge help. Like, I have ADHD, and so when I get in the park, all my planning it goes out the window. Sometimes I'm just like, there's so much to see and do. So sometimes it's the kids that reel like me and my wife, because they have the app and they're like, oh, this is 35 minutes, this is 65 minutes, this is 2 hours, this is only 5 minutes. Let's do this on
Another
the
set
way.
of
And
eyes. That's great.
or dining. We talk about mobile ordering, so you can be in line for a ride and order your food so that it's ready when you're done. It's such an amazing thing. As we wrap up here, talked about a lot of different aspects, and it's a lot for families to process. Are there some specific tips or strategies or even money-saving tips for a family to just plan a trip without it becoming like a burden or overwhelming?
Well, I want to say there's a ton of resources out there, especially us at planDisney. If you do have questions, don't feel like you can't ask them. We have answered all kinds of questions, to what kind of bed is in Grand Floridian, to how do I place a mobile order? So I always say, just come visit us at planDisney. We're here to help.
Yeah. I mean, I think that pressure you're talking about, I always tell people it's like to take the time to research it. Don't worry about doing everything. It's so much. The number of parks, the number of attractions. It's focus in, think about what it is you really want to do. What do your kids want to do? Or whoever you're traveling with, whether friends or family members. What is everyone's priorities? And do not try and be completionists and get it all done. It's not always the recipe for the best time. Yeah, focus on those things that interest you and what you're going to get the most enjoyment out of. And usually the trip is that much better for it.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because like I said earlier, I'm a local and we have still not done everything. And we're probably here as a family at least once a month. So when my friends come down from New Jersey, I'm like, you're not going to get it all in, and it's okay.
Yes.
You're not going to. We see things every single time we're here. So just focus in on what your family likes and enjoy it. There's so much to enjoy.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your tips and advice and even your stories. I think it's going to be super helpful for families who are planning a trip. Let's end on this. There have been so many announcements recently from Disney parks from Disney, and a lot of things maybe that were announced a while back that are now coming into fruition. What are some of the things that you're excited about that are either just now coming or are on the way for Disney parks?
My excitement is going to be the villains Unfairly
Oh,
Ever After.
yeah.
I love the villains, so I'm just excited to see that show.
I am extremely excited for the new nighttime parade that will be late summer, I believe, Disney Starlight. I'm so excited for a nighttime parade to be back at Magic Kingdom. But very close second will be the Pirates of the Caribbean Tavern in Adventureland. I can't claim that I'll be the first one there. It's a bit of a long trek down, but I will definitely be there as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.